YouTube, and welcome to the DBTGamer Show, episode 204. And today I'm going to review Resident Evil Revelations for the Wii U, Nintendo 3DS, PS4, and Xbox One, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3, and PC. In this review, all the footage will be from the Wii U version. So, let's get started. Okay, let's start this review. First, let's go into the story for Resident Evil Revelations. The story of this game is great. At the start of the game,
I made
you are playing as Jill Valentine and Parker.
There are no keys
and you've
here.
been sent to a huge ship called the Queen Zenobia, where you believe
we really
that
need
Chris
that key.
Redfield and Jessica have been captured because they haven't made radio contact for a while, and standard BSA procedure is if your friends don't call you, go look for them. Throughout the game, there are 12 chapters in the story, and within these 12 chapters, there are technically 3 different stories running at once. There's Chris and Jessica's story, Jill Valentine and Parker's story, and Forkball and Jackass's story. Yes, 2 of the characters in this game are actually called Forkball and Jackass, and I believe their code names, I can't remember the characters' real names, but they are 2 of my favourite characters because they are really funny, just the way they bounce off each other and their whole romance that they have. Overall, I thought the story was great. I loved how all the stories intertwined and interlinked with each other. It worked really well. Also, the chapters have like sub-chapters, so each chapter may be set into like 2 or 3 parts, depending on where you are in the game. And this works great in the 3DS version. You could just play a sub-chapter game while you're on the bus to work or college, and then once you're off the bus, you might be done with the chapter. You can just save your game. The game does have auto-save, so you don't have to worry about getting to the end of the chapter, but it was nice the way the game is broken up. Now, when you play the game at home on like a PS3 or Wii U or Nintendo Switch on PC or an Xbox, the chapter system doesn't look as well because you just want to keep playing because you're at home, you can just relax and enjoy your game. But when this game was on the 3DS, I thought the chapter system was a great idea. Now let's go into the graphics of this game. The graphics of this game do vary depending on which version you have. If you have the 3DS version, sadly the game in terms of quality looks like a GameCube game. Now, I'm not saying the 3DS version has bad graphics. For the 3DS, in terms of realism, they look fantastic, but it's pretty much GameCube and in terms of quality. Now, if you're playing the Wii U version, PS3, or Xbox 360, things will look better. In this review, all the footage is from the Wii U version, which is the second best version in terms of graphics. Now, sometime in November, according to the internet, they are releasing a Nintendo Switch port of Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2 on one Nintendo Switch cartridge, and that will probably be the highest quality version you can get. There's also a PS4 and an Xbox One version, I believe. So they'll be very high quality as well in terms of graphics. But in my opinion, no matter what console you play this game on, it looks great. Although the 3D consoles. Okay, next let's go to controls. Now throughout the game there are multiple control types that you can choose in the option menu, and each control type has different benefits. So you have to choose. There's a more classic type for more old Resident Evil players, and there's also a shooter type. And when I played this game, I chose the shooter type
Running
for
around in
the
circles seems
Wii
to be
U
what this
version.
job is about.
Now, when you're playing the 3DS version, there's a lot more control types, especially if you have the new 3DS with the extra analog stick and the extra RAM and all the extra buttons and all that nice stuff. Although, when you're playing the 3DS version, I would highly recommend that you keep the game in the regular control types that don't use the new 3DS features. Now you may be asking, DBTGamer, why not use the new 3DS features? To be honest, when they designed the control scheme for the new 3DS and the Sucker Pro, they made one giant boo-boo. ZL and ZR are for aiming and firing and shooting and stabbing with a knife and throwing and that sort of stuff. The ZR buttons and ZL buttons are kind of small on the 3DS, so yeah. So if you're going to play the 3DS version of this game, I would highly recommend you keep it in normal mode, and because then you get to use the L and R triggers, which are much bigger, much nicer, and much easier to feel underneath your fingers, so you can play the game a little bit more comfortably in terms of the way the controls work. Now, as for every other platform, PS3, Wii U, Xbox 360, Nintendo Switch, and PC, and Xbox One, and PS4, feel free to use any control type you feel comfortable with. So controls. In the control scheme I'm using, L aims, R fires, right stick moves, no, left stick moves, right stick aim, pivots the camera, standard stuff, and R is always knife, first trigger is grenade, L doesn't appear to do anything. It's somewhat a shame. Up cycles through your sub weapons. Down also does this. This is good for your quick shifting controls, especially when you're playing the versions where you don't have a second screen. And the right on the D-pad changes weapons, and the left also cycles weapons. So that's your quick shifting. A button talks to people and opens doors. X button. Y button. B and down is quick turn. An absolute must in Resident Evil games if you want to turn around and quickly blast them in the face. Now onto the 3DS and Wii U exclusive controls. The touchscreens works very well. You can cycle through your menus and check on your ammo, items, key items, and map. This is one of the best things about the about this version. Just the freeness to select guns and herbs and all that stuff. It's best. I think it's A while playing the game. You can use a herb as like a quick
Pretty
thing,
bright out for this time of
which
night.
is great.
That's why they
Although
call
you
it
have to
the
be careful
midnight
because sometimes
sun.
you might press it and you use one by accident. Yes, I've been there. You have a scanner throughout the game. I believe you press L, then you press R to use the scanner, which can tell you. You think it worked like Metroid Prime, where it tells you about the enemy, but no, it's not like that. You use the scanner to scan enemies, and then the scan data somehow turns into healing items, so that you can heal your characters, which is a little bit strange, but it is rather helpful. You can hold a grand total of 5 herbs, and if you scan up to 100%, you can technically have a 6th herb, which is very useful. There are no first aid sprays in this game, just herbs. Makes the game a little bit more simplified, I suppose. Less to worry about when it comes to combining items and that sort of thing.
No, because they're wolves and they're
User friendly as far as some of the other single games are concerned in terms of item management. Overall, I thought the controls were great. Now, there is a small problem with the controls for the console versions. If you're playing the PS3, Xbox 360, PS4, Xbox One, or Nintendo Switch, because your console does not have a second screen, you will not get the touchscreen controls or the components that the Wii U game and previous provides. And there's an extra menu which you have to cycle through different maps and items. There is actually an option on the Wii U version to change the game mode. Obviously, I didn't do this because I don't want to be hampered whilst I'm playing a game when I'm on a somewhat superior platform. But I did try it for a brief moment, and playing this game without the touchscreen is, how do I put this? Funky. It's just not enjoyable. But if that's your only option, you'll have to just persevere and get used to it, I suppose. Now let's go to the music for the game. The music for this game, it's great. It's mostly atmospheric, and there are times when the music will get creepy and scary, and you'll feel like being chased by something, and it really fits the atmosphere well, and it's just great on all versions. Although on portable versions, I do suggest headphones to get the full effect. Gameplay for this game. The gameplay for this game, it's a survival horror, and it is great. It's one of the best Resident Evil games in recent memory. I really enjoyed this. When this first came out for the 3DS in 2012, it was one of my most anticipated titles, and it did not disappoint. It was just one of the best 3DS games I had. It was just so good. It was definitely worth the wait and all those delays, because there were quite a few delays in development with this, because they were also developing Resident Evil Mercenaries, which was an absolutely pointless title, which I think they shouldn't have even bothered with. But yeah. Okay, good stuff about this game. Story is great. Cutscenes, they're very well done. I really enjoyed them. They
calm down. What's wrong with you?
Sort the story out really well. Gameplay of this game, great.
What?
Now let's go to missions, trophies, or achievements. Now, normally the 3DS and the Wii U don't have an achievement system, but when this game was first released on the 3DS version, they had this option on the menu called Mission, and this is where you could look at achievements or trophies for the 3DS version. This still exists in the Wii U version, and it exists in all versions, so no matter which version you play, your version will have achievements. And throughout the game, for doing said tasks and the achievements, you will get certain rewards. The achievement feature for the campaign, beat the campaign on higher difficulties. I have managed to beat this game on hard mode on the 3DS and on the Wii U. Was not an easy feat. Throughout the game, you'll find these handprints while you're scanning things. If you manage to scan the handprint, you can unlock things. It's a little collectible that you can find. It's kind of creepy, seeing all these handprints just printed on the wall. As some of them have obviously including blood, and as someone died with just a handprint, it's creepy. There's also different achievements for doing like different objects, like defeat the enemies with a shock grenade, dodge 20 times, which is a really hard one to do because the dodge command in this game, I have to say, is definitely flawed. But overall, I liked the mission objectives and the achievements thing. It gave me a lot more to do with the game.
Another one goes down. Quick, how many left?
And the other thing I really liked about the game was the raid mode. Now, depending on which game you have, the raid mode is different for between consoles. The 3DS version, the raid mode is just a mode that you can play just to shoot zombies, and there's also some multiplayer where you can shoot zombies with a friend. Yes, the raid mode is the multiplayer mode. There is no multiplayer story mode, which is a big shame because 90% of the time in this game there are two party members on screen, either Jessica and Chris, or Jill and Parker, or Foko and Jessica. So they could have made this game into a co-op Resident Evil game like Resident Evil 5 and 6, but they decided against it. But the raid mode is lots of fun if you want to play co-op. Just shooting zombies here is a lot of fun. If you have the PS3, Wii U,
I don't think there's any more.
PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch version, I assume, this is the area where if you beat enough of the raid mode, you could unlock alternative costumes for your characters that you can use in the story mode and also in raid mode. So that's a nice little extra they included for the console versions. You can unlock costumes. There is also a shop where you can buy weapons, and there's each character has like different special skills and different loadouts. Like example, Jill Valentine, she's better with handguns and she has a better reloading speed, whereas Chris Redfield is best with shotguns and has a faster shotgun reloading speed.
Okay.
So that's
Everything
how
appears to be in working order.
that sort of thing works. And
Yo,
as you
Gwen.
play the game, you level up
Time
and
to
you
do
do
your
more
job.
damage and all that sort of things. Got some RPG elements, and it is quite a lot of fun for the raid mode. And as far as I can tell, there are 20 stages in all, and there are also some unlockable ones afterwards. Yeah, so the raid mode is a lot of fun. Something you can do after the campaign is done. You can also post messages to Miiverse if you're using the Wii U version. And I'm not so sure if you can do this in the 3DS version. I would have to check, but I'm pretty sure you can't because this is before the 3DS had Miiverse. Throughout the game there are multiple weapons that you can find and collect in order to defeat your foes. You've got a large variety of handguns, shotguns, machine guns, rocket launcher when the situation requires it. Yes, there is a chance to unlock an infinite rocket launcher in this game if you know what you're doing. There's also sniper rifles. At one point, there are some really heavy duty ones, which I won't spoil because they're a lot of fun. And the other thing I really liked were the sub weapons. You standard sub weapon you start at the beginning and the end of the game. You just by pressing R, and ZR is your knife. But then you've got regular grenades, shot grenades. Shot grenades are mostly for underwater enemies or enemies in water, and then you got your decoys, which were my favourite ones. The decoys can lure bioweapons into like a trap,
Hold up there.
and then once they get within range of the decoy, you can it'll explode and get them out of your hair, which is always great. Which is a really nice weapon. Pulse grenades, these are mostly for these are the only type of grenades that you can use when you're swimming underwater, so they're very, very useful. Also, be careful. You don't waste it. You don't want to be in water and be without pulse grenades because you are almost defenseless and you have to swim away like a little sissy. Throughout the game, there are various puzzles, but one of the things that Resident Evil Revelations I felt is one of its weaker areas is the puzzles aspect. There are, I'm going to say, about a handful of different types of puzzles. The first type of puzzle you'll come across are fuse boxes, which you'll need to use either your control sticks and buttons to rearrange the wires so you can open doors, or you can use the stylus if you have the 3DS or Wii U version to solve the fuse box puzzle and open the door. These fuse box puzzles are repeated several times throughout the game and different combinations, and they do get slightly more complicated. And they are somewhat fun, although the fact that they're repeated so often sometimes makes them a little bit tedious. There is one puzzle in the casino where you have to find some coins and then put them in slots, and then once you get the jackpot you get a bunch of coins and you can use those coins to solve a puzzle. And you have to, each coin weighs a certain amount, so you have to figure out which one weighs the right amount so you can open the door. And that was quite a fun puzzle. I kind of wish there was more of that. And later on in the game, there's like a puzzle with lasers, then you have to press the right switch to open the lasers. And as you standard, find key, open door, and find an item, open a door, find two items, combine them, and open said door. So I like the puzzles in the game, but I wish the game had a bit more variety and a few more of them, because, to be honest, there weren't that many puzzles in this game. Another great thing about the game for navigation is the map. It's extremely useful and is a big help when it comes to getting around. And the game will give you like hints in the top right hand corner if you need them, but your best friend in this game when it comes to getting around is the map. It'll have like prompts which will tell you where to go, and there's a key, and it's all very easy to understand and very easy to use. And the other thing I liked about the game were the melee attacks. If you run out of bullets or run out of sub-weapons and you're pretty much defenseless, you think, oh shit, what can I do? Well, you can literally stab the enemy to death with your knife, or if you manage to stun the enemy, you can literally walk up to them, and if you're playing as Jill Valentine, for example, you just roundhouse kick them to the face and they will take a lot of damage. And also, if you hold the melee button down, you can charge this attack up and do a lot more damage with it, which I do encourage, although it can be risky. And there have been times I've literally roundhouse kicked a hunter into absolute oblivion. Who needs a gun when you're an absolute wrecking machine? But it's a risk sort of reward system. And the other thing that I thought was good about the game was the dodging system. Basically, the way that dodging is supposed to work, supposed to being the operative word in this sentence, is you're supposed to flick the stick and dodge the enemy. It doesn't always work. It can be a little bit annoying and imprecise. But when it does work, it is helpful. Next, on to custom parts. Throughout the game, you'll find these chests, and the chests will have where you can change your weapons out. Also, if you find these little tiny suitcases, you will find custom parts, and custom parts can be used to customize weapons. Each weapon will have a minimum of 1 custom part to 5 custom parts, and you can swap these out accordingly and customize your weapons to increase their power, rapid fire, stopping power, blindness, spread fire. There's a large variety of effects. It will take me forever to go through them all, but my best recommendation is experiment and see what combinations you can come up with. And certain weapons can only be equipped with certain parts. Another thing I really liked about the game were all the different enemy designs. They are all very marine-like, and when they walk around, it's just so creepy and just really, really great. I really like the enemy designs in this game. Another thing I really liked were all the different bosses. A lot of them are marine-like, and there are a few that are less Plagas-like, like in Resident Evil 4 and I suppose Resident Evil 5. And overall, the enemies and bosses are great. And on to my last good thing about the game. This only applies to the 3DS version. In the 3DS version, when you had the game in Street Pass mode, you could unlock missions that you could do in raid mode just by street passing with people. This mode is not present in the console version of the game, very sadly. Argument, since the Wii U has Miiverse and similar capabilities, they could have incorporated this into the Wii U version, but I think that Capcom just wanted to make the console version as fast as possible and as simply as possible and as cheaply as possible. So they removed all the Street Pass functionality from the console version, which is a little bit of a bummer because the Wii U, because it's connected to the internet and the Miiverse, technically, by being connected to your friends on the Miiverse, you could have traded missions between each other and got some of these bonuses. But it's not a big deal, it's not a deal breaker if you have the console version. Okay, that's all my goods for that game. Right, now that I've finished showing off all the footage, I'm going to go into my complaints about the game. My complaints are as follows, and these complaints are for a variety of versions of the game. Complaint number 1. Throughout the game, the camera can have a few problems. Sometimes it's a little bit too close to the to your player character. Navigating and picking up certain objects on the floor a little bit tricky at times. That's a minor complaint. Now, for you people who own the PS4, Xbox One, PC, PS3 or Xbox 360 version, you won't have a map on your gamepad like in the Wii U version or the 3DS version. So if you want to get the map up, you have to use the start button and look at the map that way. There is actually an option, surprisingly, in the Wii U version to turn the Wii U version basic into Xbox 360 mode, so that you can actually have the map on the TV screen and just keep pressing the start button to flick to it. It's an odd feature, but I suppose if you're used to that way of playing it. But in my opinion, if you're going to play Resident Evil Revelations and you want the best experience, I would go for the Wii U version or the 3DS version, because having a map on your bottom screen on your lap just makes the gameplay so much easier, so much more fun, and just all around works better. And it's also good where you're switching out weapons. You can just tap the weapon that you want and just change things out. Now, another complaint I have is the dodge command. The dodge command in this game is iffy at best. According to the manual in both my games, you have to move the analog stick when an enemy comes towards you to do a dodge. I have found that this doesn't work very often. It's unreliable, to say the least. a better way of doing it, Capcom, if you're ever going to implement a dodge command again, do it exactly the same way you did it in Resident Evil 3. Just press R, Jill dodges. Very simple, very easy to understand, always works. But other than that, I really enjoyed Resident Evil Revelations on the Wii U and 3DS. And it's definitely a very good horror game, and it's definitely worth buying and worth playing. And these days, no matter where you pick it up, it's relatively cheap. Although I can't really vouch for the Xbox One or PS4 versions because they will be pretty much brand new or coming out soon when this review is up. Anyway, my rating for Resident Evil Revelations is a 4 out of 5. Anyway, I will see you guys in my next episode. Bye!